Today is Thursday, January the 3rd, 2019. Hello, and welcome to Weekly Astrology Notes for the week of January 5th through the 3rd, 2019. Well, this is the first report for 2019, so Happy New Year, and best wishes for a prosperous and serendipitous 2019. And thank you to all my subscribers. Some of you have been with me for years now, and we've built a really nice community of curious and intelligent people who are interested in the synchronicity of the planets and events as they unfold in society and in our lives. And a warm welcome to this community to all my new subscribers. You know, I love to get comments and questions from viewers, and almost always I respond. So please leave me those comments and questions. Love to get those. And if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications when I get new videos, not only on my weekly astrology note, but special reports in politics and studies in astrology. So this report covers the first quarter of the new moon that happens on January the 5th. So a summary for this week: on the 5th, we've got the new moon in Capricorn. On the 6th, Uranus goes direct. It's quite special because it starts a 2-month period where all of the planets are going to be moving direct. And that's a very fortuitous time. So we want to pay attention to that. And on the 7th, Venus enters Sagittarius. On the 8th, Mercury square Mars. On the 11th, Sun conjunct Pluto. And we're going to have a long moon void, of course, on the 11th from 6:30 in the morning until past midnight. And then on the 13th, Mercury conjunct Saturn, as well as the much anticipated Jupiter square Neptune. I've talked about this aspect quite a bit lately, especially in my special reports on the Deep State War, and also in my video on Jupiter in Sagittarius, the return of the Archer. So, not only that, but we got all the moon aspects for this quarter. So that should be providing you with the information that helps you make the most out of your week. So let's get started with Saturday the 5th. We're starting in the afternoon with the new moon, which is also going to be a partial solar eclipse. To see that best, you need to live in Kamchatka, Russia, west of Alaska. It's pretty cold there. So anyway, we'll start with the new moon, which, as you can see, will be at 15 degrees 25 minutes of Capricorn. So the new moon is always a time of more energy. It's always a time to where we want to start new projects. It's a creative energy, is at a high point for the month. You know, the moon conjunct sun is the most powerful aspect in all of astrology. So at this time, inhibitions subside, we're more easygoing, and we could put the past behind us and start anew for the month. So it's a very creative period of time that lasts a couple of hours. And looking at this month, we see it's in Capricorn, which is cardinal Earth, master of the physical realm, attends to duty and responsibility, which it sees as a path to success and ultimate happiness in life. Capricorn says, I use, or sometimes you'll see it, I utilize. So the new moon in Capricorn has us wanting to use our creative talents, put them to practical use them to bring success, maybe even pursue a career goal. So it's a good time to attend to your career. We are more masterful and capable this month, more commanding and sure of ourselves, able to address emotional issues, and are ready to rise above whatever is blocking us. Now, the commanding power of Capricorn with Saturn and Pluto both close by. So we've got Saturn at 11 degrees of Capricorn conjuncting this new moon, as well as Pluto at 20 degrees of Capricorn. So Saturn and Pluto are very much involved in the mix as well. There's a close sextile to Neptune at 14 degrees of Pisces. So Saturn and Pluto close by enables us to gain mastery and control of our emotions, stop bad habits and subconscious fears from denying us our place in the world. Saturn slows down the emotions. Reactions become slow. We're more cautious, not dramatic. This enables reflection and therapy. The moon in Capricorn, which is opposite its ruling sign of Cancer, learns how to see the other side of the issue. Its stern Capricorn tells us to deal with our issues like an adult and overcome them. So this month is a good time to start a business. Put your creativity to productive use. It's time to develop good habits, habits of successful people. Approach life in a methodical way and live in the present moment. And methodical means basically kind of acting like a machine in the sense that you do similar things on a daily basis and you keep to a schedule, basically. And because Pluto is involved, you got to remember to just keep moving this month and don't get stagnant. That's the worst thing for Pluto. Pluto is that constant regenerative energy, and it's going to give us a lot of energy to keep moving this month. As well, Pluto has a desire to tear down and rebuild. It unleashes destructive forces in your life. But the need to regenerate does require some fixing and repairing, although not complete reconstruction. Sometimes we go overboard with this energy because it's in Capricorn, so we can get very commanding about it and make sure we want to do everything and finish a job completely, and it can get a little overwhelming. The energy of Capricorn is best used when it's narrowly focused. Okay, when it doesn't wreak havoc in the rest of your life and you just focus it on what's most important for you. And that really comes across as self-discipline. Okay, so we're going to be self-disciplined this month. And Pluto gives us passion, stamina, and the desire to work with others to do something for the community, because Pluto is the community and what binds us. And so you want to do something that's going to help others. And this is especially so with the sextile to Neptune. And if your creative endeavor, whatever that is, your hobby, whatever that happens to be in life, if it really is something that's good for the community, then it really needs to be turned into a business. So really this setup here is a really good one to start a personal business. And this stellium places a lot of focus on one area in your chart, because we got all these planets in Capricorn. So you need to kind of check your chart and see what house this is happening in. You'll be putting a lot of energy there this month. A lot of building and regeneration. It's just going to be a lot of intense energy happening in that area of your chart. And the solar eclipse is happening, and that's going to make the energy of the moon predominate a little more. So we're more reflective and intuitive. The feminine side comes out more. It's a month to be very sensitive towards the needs of self and others, and not ignore someone in need. Because we're all very sensitive this month with the moon sextile Neptune. Despite the fact that it's in Capricorn, we still are very sensitive. So the sextile to Neptune indicates that we're going to be incorporating elements of the non-material realm into our lives as we go through our creative activities. So we sense opportunities, because that's the sextile, opportunities to strengthen our direct divine connection. And that's Neptune in Pisces. It's our connection to things so much beyond what is our finite boundary. It really connects us to the stars. And it's time to show compassion and caring, especially to those who genuinely deserve it. As I've pointed out many times, this sextile from Capricorn to Pisces is the sextile of philanthropy, helping those who genuinely deserve it. And that's an important aspect of this month's energy as well. Also, Neptune brings helpers from the spirit world, guides, and even psychic intuition. Especially with the Jupiter, square Neptune happening this quarter, we are really going to be opening up to the spirit world quite a bit. So this sextile to Neptune makes that even stronger. And I'll talk much more about that when we get to the Jupiter square Neptune aspect. But this is really important to note. We've got this great sextile to Neptune. So we need to be gentle with ourselves and others in order to access this spiritual guidance and intuition and do that Neptune thing of reclaiming lost elements of self. Part of you that you thought was gone and couldn't come back, well, it can. You can reclaim that with this kind of energy. And another thing I wanted to point out is you'll notice Venus at 28 degrees of Scorpio and Uranus at 28 degrees of Aries. That's a close quincunx happening the same day. So that's Venus quincunx Uranus. And that can bring out some of out of the ordinary behavior, sudden changes in how you feel towards someone, like maybe even in your relationship. Uranus brings change and Venus is your relationship. It's also your likes and dislikes. So you might have sudden or pronounced likes and dislikes, as well attracted to the unusual. It may cause a kind of spontaneous party mood or a need for independence. It kind of all depends on where you're at. But anyway, we could expect some surprising behavior from this Venus quincunx Uranus. And more at the end about how this new moon impacts the chart of the USA. I'm going to be going over the transits for the USA at the end. Okay, so that's it for Saturday. Moving on to Sunday, the 6th. We start early in the morning with the moon conjunct Pluto. That will be in Capricorn. So benefits come from staying focused and keeping your energy flowing and positive and avoid stagnation. That's basically what you want to do right there. Just keeping yourself going and don't stop and focus on something or get fixated on a particular thought that brings resentment or something like that, because that's to your detriment. You need to just keep moving and express the energy in a productive way. And then you're going to be making lots of headway. Lots of passion and stamina, able to focus and do whatever needs to get done. Able to attend to your most vital concerns, thinking about money and survival. It's a good aspect for cleaning the home and repair in the home. We also have more sexual energy now, but generally you want to avoid emotional entanglements with others and stay away from anything underhanded. Okay, also on Sunday we've got Uranus going direct at 28 degrees 35 minutes of Aries. And it begins moving through the last degrees of Aries for the last time until it comes around again in 84 years. So on March 7th, Uranus will enter Taurus fully. And, Uranus has done a lot of good work in Aries, breaking down the rigid elements of identity, helping us to really change, enabling us to act with more courage, fight out in the open, charge ahead like a spiritual warrior. So now in the last 2 months of Aries, Uranus represents change and freedom. We're, again, looking to expressing our individuality with nothing holding us back because we're out of the retrograde motion. We're out of that period of doubts and rethinking, so we can express our individuality now without hesitation. As well, Mars is in Aries. Wow, that is also helping to do away with any hesitation as well. So with great courage, we can charge ahead now. And now is a good time to start new projects. Again, what we were talking about earlier with starting your own business or putting your creative energy to productive use. Maybe something to help you with your career. This helps especially because Uranus direct begins a period of all planets moving direct. And this is going to last until March the 5th. So everything is moving forward now. Everything moves ahead faster. No energy turning inward to bring doubt. We have nothing holding us back to the past. It heralds a time of great progress. It's considered a very fortunate time, and this occurrence seems to be lasting longer than usual. Although I have not studied up on this completely, I noticed the last couple of times it only lasted a couple of weeks, and this time it's 2 months. So I would say that this month, especially this all planets direct period, is a good time to take your personal hobby, which is your unique expression of your creative energy, and turn it into a business. And I guess I'm a little hyped on this right now because that's exactly what I'm doing, basically. So I'm kind of reflecting back to you a lot of the way that I'm reading this into my life and the productive use that I see that I can get out of this, and kind of hoping to encourage the same in everyone else. Okay, moving along to later in the evening on Sunday, we're going to have a moon square Uranus. This aspect makes us intelligent, yet stubborn and kind of sensitive. It's a challenging combination because folks are kind of touchy. So it's not a good time for relationships and social interactions in general, or even to make important decisions. We tend to think we know it all at these times, but actually we're being very swayed by our emotions, and we're not really thinking as clearly as we think we are. So heightened awareness of our social condition. We tend to be more aware of what we're not getting, as well as that in others, and that makes us restless and irritable. Emotions are mixed with intellect, so we're prone to error, jump to the wrong conclusions, as well attracted to the unusual, and whatever distracts you from the mundane world or enables you to change your mood. And that's what we're looking for. We want to suddenly be able to change our emotions at will. And in this case, benefits come from liberating yourself from a stagnant situation to a greater awareness. And that's where the real help comes in here, because that willful energy of Uranus, coupled with the moon, says, hey, this isn't working for you, moon. Get out of there. And it helps you break out of that. But it can be disruptive. And you want to find something to positively stimulate your mind. Uranus needs mental stimulation. And that helps. You'll feel comfortable with that. And then later in the evening, we've got the moon sextile Venus. Benefits come from one-to-one interactions. Desire to exchange energy in a way that both sides, they feel they've gained something positive. Must be a win-win situation. It's a good time for business. Folks are in a buying mood. Money is a universal medium for the exchange of energy, and that's what you want to do now. So it's a good time to attend to your relationships. Spend quality time strengthening emotional bonds. Meaningful interactions are best because both signs don't like superficiality. At this time, folks are generally passive and easygoing, and these signs, reserved and cautious, prefer to remain dignified. So they're very passionate, but behind closed doors. It's the last aspect for Venus and Scorpio as well. And also the moon begins a void of course. And that continues for a short time until the moon enters Aquarius, and activities tend to focus more on social obligations over the next couple of days. So that'll be the start of the week. Feeling liberated and need to go your own way, uninhibited. It's a good time for social activities, and benefits come from group activities. Moving along to Monday, January the 7th. We start in the middle of the night with Venus entering Sagittarius in Scorpio for quite a while. So now it's finally made it to Sagittarius, where it will be until February the 3rd. So Venus likes to roam free in Sagittarius. It's a good time for sports and outdoor activities. Kind of coquettish or flirty, friendly, and enjoys the company of friends, people who share the same philosophy on life as you do. principled in relationships, good moral boundaries, and prefers the traditional approach to romance. We're more blunt and outspoken about what pleases us, and a desire to travel and to meet foreigners and people who expand your horizons. And Venus is going to connect with the Jupiter square Neptune aspect on the 20th and 22nd. So that'll be kind of interesting. I'll talk about that when we get there. And as far as the moon aspects, we've just got one today, and that's in the morning. And that's Moon sextile Mars. So benefits come from being self-reliant. With the sextile, you need to be consciously aware of what's going on around you, paying attention, and you will naturally lead yourself to success. Also, we have more physical energy now and able to express yourself with more confidence. Moving along to Tuesday, January the 8th, we start in the middle of the night with the Moon sextile Jupiter. Benefits come from helping others. That's the way it is on all of those positive Moon-Jupiter aspects. It's a good time for yoga because of the signs, Sag to Aquarius, desire to stretch in new ways, brings pleasant disposition. Inhibitions subside, desire to be in a crowd, maybe opportunities to meet new people, maybe an important social or professional connection. Excellent for social endeavors. Folks are open-minded and idealistic, brings lots of bright ideas, and it's a good time for business. Oh, incidentally, I know that this one's in the middle of the night and still going to be very early in the morning on the East Coast, but there's folks all over the planet that are listening to this report, so maybe this is in the middle of the day for somebody on the other side of the planet. So that's why I'm including all the details on the aspects, regardless of what time of day they're occurring. And also, we're going to be having Mercury square Mars on Tuesday. And that's going to be 5 degrees of Capricorn to 5 degrees of Aries. So with this one, communication tends to be sharp, aggressive, and confrontational, impulsive and impatient, makes for lots of mental activity and communication, quick bursts of energy. Folks identify with their opinions too much, and it makes interactions challenging. Generally not a good time for social activities. Nerves are easily fried. You may need to let off some steam, but just do it in a safe way. May need to defend your opinions. Just be sure they're valid first. It may lead to disputes, so it's a good idea to try and not correct other people today. But also, try not to agree with others just to avoid conflict. That would actually be detrimental for you. But as always, it comes down to a judgment call with the Capricorn to Aries square. It's self-discipline versus self-determination. Do you opt for self-determination now, or do you say that self-discipline leads to more self-determination in the future? When you've got to decide for yourself. But anyway, this aspect gives lots of energy, and it needs to be put to productive use. Writing, talking, doing safe things with your hands, I should say, because with the squares to Mars, we do have more energy, but we're also more accident prone. So be careful working with tools or sharp objects, and it does bring out bad driving habits. Mercury rules driving, so be careful while driving, and working alone is productive now. And as well, we can expect some fights in politics. Moving on to Wednesday, January the 9th. We start in the morning with Moon sextile Uranus. And actually, it's Moon in Aquarius, so it's pretty stimulating. Benefits come from engaging in mental activities to stimulate the mind, especially with people in your group or association, your social circle. So it's an excellent time to spend with friends, activities where you express the unique side of yourself and can feel liberated. And then we've got a short void, of course, on Wednesday morning from 9 until noon. So during that time, it's not a good time to start projects or discuss important business matters. And then just before noon, Moon enters Pisces. So we're more sensitive and passive for the next couple of days. Imaginative, artistic, and reflective, not forthright, always considering some other aspect of the situation, possibly trying to find the spiritual reasons why. Kind of self-sacrificing as well. More in tune with the subtle vibrations around you, and you may need sanctuary to get in tune with spirit. And then in the late afternoon, early evening, we've got Moon square Venus. Now in these signs, it's quite different from the last signs, Aquarius to Scorpio. In these signs, it brings a pleasant disposition, willing to overlook the bad side in others. It can be a little bit delusional, but it's a good time for social interactions. Okay, moving along to Thursday, January the 10th. We start very early in the morning with Moon sextile Mercury. Benefits come from self-discipline in communication and thinking, because it's in Capricorn, and considering the needs of others, because it's Moon in Pisces. So you're able to consider the facts and come to a good decision. Good time to conduct business, and there may be opportunities for material gain, because Mercury rules transactions. So we're just more into them during this time of the Moon sextile. As well, the Moon sextile Saturn, another Capricorn to Pisces sextile, able to balance emotional needs with your duty and responsibility. So basically, benefits come from enjoying your work. We're more sensitive, passive, not reactive, more aware and responsible, and act with maturity. Desire to make a contribution to society. It's a quiet time. It's good for reflection and meditation. As well, it's a good time for business meetings. People are sober and are going to have good judgment and be willing to listen. And then later in the afternoon on Thursday, we've got Moon square Jupiter. Again, with the Sagittarius to Pisces square, very expansive, brings an abundance of emotional energy and endless compassion. Mood is generally good. Folks are warm and generous, but with poor financial judgment, and we tend to eat too much. Easily deluded, desire to help others to the point of self-sacrifice, but as with all Moon-Jupiter connections, benefits come from helping others. And then a little later in the afternoon, Moon conjunct Neptune. That time every month, once a month, when we feel extra sensitive. So you want to make sure you go easy on yourself and on others during this time. Impressions mean more than words. And at this time, you can make a positive impression on others by not approaching them forcefully or even directly, but rather like a crab, sideways, always walks sideways. People will open up to you more easily. Compassionate and forgiving and very passive. It's a good time for meditation because you feel connected to everything. Moving along to Friday, January the 11th. So this aspect, Sun conjunct Pluto, is going to be in effect on Thursday evening as well. And this is going to be at 20 degrees, almost 21 degrees of Capricorn. So, as you can imagine, with Pluto, it brings a strong burst of energy. In this case, it's very creative energy because it's conjuncting the Sun. So we feel very creative and have a lot of energy with this aspect, but it's best focused on a specific task because it's in Capricorn. A strong desire to get ahead. You want to feel like you're accomplishing something vital. So it's important to keep moving and not stagnate. You're concerned with your career and success, your reputation and standing in the community. So you're kind of reserved and with dignified behavior. But have all this passion and stamina. Get a lot of work done and finish whatever you start. Today you need to attend to what you already have and make the most of it. Methodical use of your energy yields positive results. The reason why I say attend to what you have and make the most of it is because Capricorn is very efficient and doesn't like to waste. And also consider the fact that this aspect comes by once a year. And during that time, we feel this strong burst of energy. We want to do something really significant in our lives. Feel that Pluto energy helping us to tear down whatever is blocking us. So you really want to use your creative energy. But it's Capricorn. So you need to make sure it's efficient, and you want to do it methodically, because methodical use of your energy yields very positive results. And although this aspect is good for starting projects, especially business ventures, would be excellent for that. I spoke about that at the new moon. This is the perfect aspect for it. But maybe Thursday evening, when this aspect is in effect, would be the best option, because we've got this long moon void of course today, going from 6:30 in the morning till past midnight. So, you generally don't want to start new projects. But in general, the desire to start your own business, strike out on your own, access your own capacity for, obtaining resources, you really want to do that now. So in Capricorn, you want to make it a day to solidify what you already have, make proper and efficient use of your time, and be very productive, and you really want to feel like you're getting ahead. Folks are interested in securing their existing position. Some may be a bit ruthless, very determined behavior, but such is the nature of Pluto mixed with Capricorn. Now, the general feeling that we get in our body with this aspect is very positive. We feel cohesive, well put together, integrated, and we have great resolve. We're more in tune with what's going on deep inside of us. We feel more able to keep things contained. We're more aware of the psychological aspects of ourselves and of others. It brings a feeling of power and confidence that is expressed in a reserved, Capricorn, masterful way. Along with the long moon void of course today, this ability to dig deep from Pluto is going to really enhance meditation. Your ability to focus and go within is very good today. And Thursday evening as well, I should mention. You can use this energy to confront and purge blockages or impurities in your emotional body. Cleanse your aura. Today may be the start of an important change of lifestyle, because like I said, it only happens once a year. And here we are at the start of the year when people are turning over a new leaf. And this is the absolute perfect aspect to do that. Making a significant change in your lifestyle, starting over in some new way. Because Pluto gives us that energy to regenerate. It could be anything from a new diet regime to a new business. Check which house in your chart this is happening. Likely the same as the new moon, since it's so close. If this aspect is making concurrent transits, it could be rather significant for you. Recall, it happens once a year, and it always gives us this desire to start over. From that sense, it's really a wonderful aspect to make note of. Starting Thursday evening, we'll be feeling this energy. It's really powerful, and you may be surprised at how energetic you feel, the drive that this aspect brings to you. So adding a little bit more Pluto energy to the morning, we've got a moon sextile Pluto, still early in the morning on Friday the 11th. So emotional benefits come from engaging in community activities. This, again, is a very productive aspect, even when we're not getting Sun conjunct Pluto on the same day. You really want to engage in community activities and merge your efforts with others. You need to exchange energy. As well, a desire to get ahead and shore up any loose ends. May need to sacrifice your time for someone to help them, because it's moon in Pisces. Basically, you want to help someone improve their life, make a change for the better. As well, we're feeling very sensitive to the environment now. We have a strong connection to not only the physical realm, because it's in Capricorn, but also the non-physical realm, because it's in Pisces. So you can sense the subtle vibrations around you, and understand yourself and others more deeply, feel a profound connection to everyone, a very spiritual feeling. And then continuing with the positive energy in the morning on Friday, it's going to be a really great morning, I should say, because we're going to have the moon sextile sun. How wonderful. Inhibitions subside, a time of psychological well-being. Creative energy can flow easily. There are opportunities for material gain and coordinating with others. Interactions with others are especially beneficial now, so you really want to look for that. Lots of good feelings to be shared, able to overlook the bad side in others and have a mutually beneficial exchange. So it's basically the perfect time for social interactions. And then we're going to have a long void of course from 6:30 in the morning basically until past midnight. And that'll be Saturday, the 12th, when the moon enters Aries. So we're going to be more energetic for the next couple of days, quick to respond. Reactions are quicker with moon in Aries. Desire to start new projects. We're more courageous, headstrong, and impulsive. And then in the late morning, we've got the always pleasant moon trine Venus. This time in fire signs. Now that Venus is in Sagittarius, it brings a pleasant disposition and greater sensitivity. And in these signs, it's inspirational. All that fire. So it's a very good time for social interactions. People really feel the energy moving. And then in the late afternoon, the moon conjunct Mars in Aries. Strong burst of energy. Very self-motivated, self-determined, rather impulsive and impatient as well. Expect things to go your way. They don't always. Headstrong, and that can cause a little friction. So be mindful of the rights of others. Lots of desires come up, including increased sexual desire. It's good for physical activity because it gets a lot of energy with this moon conjunct Mars. We really feel like we can do a lot. So it's a great time for a workout or anything that helps you let off steam. Desire to initiate and start new projects. And it's really the perfect time to do that with all this stuff going on in Capricorn. The sun is still very close to Pluto. So that's great for Saturday. Moving along to Sunday, the 13th, the really, really big day. The one that we've all been waiting for, because this is going to bring Jupiter square Neptune. And I should say that that energy is going to be in effect for more than just Sunday. It's going to be several days around it. So let's start in the wee hours of the morning with the moon square Mercury. Thinking is clouded by emotions. Benefits come from not changing your opinions just to agree with the current mood or avoid controversy. Again, it's that Aries to Capricorn. Self-discipline versus self-determination. You have to make a judgment call, but generally speaking, you don't want to just give in order to agree with the current mood or avoid controversy. And avoid compromising your standing or reputation in the process. It's generally not a good time for social interactions. People are a little too tense and self-determined. You may need to release frustration in a safe way. Lots of energy. Good for writing and organizing, attending to business matters. But delays do pop up with the Mercury squares, and you want to drive with caution. Also early in the morning on Sunday, we've got another moon square. It's time to Saturn. Emotions contract. We're slow to respond. Responses are just generally slow when Saturn is involved. Emotional satisfaction is hard to find, so do not expect much from others now. Benefits come from not taking other people seriously now, as if your emotional security depends on theirs. So we're a little more isolated. It's harder to interact with others now, so you want to stay in present time, and it always helps to eat a warm meal. Much nicer a little later but still very early in the morning, Moon trine Jupiter in fire signs. Emotions expand. You feel rather stimulated. You know, the nerves just have more energy flowing through them. Now, spontaneous and open-minded. Don't feel much like working or following a rigid schedule. A lack of discipline. So relationships fare much better now. Benefits come from helping others because it's very inspirational, and always with the Moon Jupiter, you just feel like helping other people. We're optimistic and able to seize any available opportunity. It's a good time for business, purchases, business meetings, anything with regards to business. It goes much better with the Moon trine Jupiter. Pleasant disposition, and it's also a good time for social interactions. So there's a lot of good that can come from those Moon trine Jupiters, especially in fire signs. Okay, and also early on Sunday morning, we're going to be getting the aspect Mercury conjunct Saturn, and that'll be 12, almost 13 degrees of Capricorn. So as you can imagine, in Capricorn, very dependable, with a serious attitude, able to focus your mind on one topic and work on a job until complete. It's another aspect that inspires starting a business venture. Really, because we're thinking about career and long-term stability. We're cautious, reactions are slow, not willing to take risks, not dramatic, focused on the mundane world. It's a very good time for business, able to make important decisions because your thinking is slow, not impulsive, able to consider all the different aspects. Although it's hard to change your mind with Mercury and Saturn. We're very cautious, don't want to go off onto anything new. Unsure if you should express your opinions, may prefer to remain quiet. Also may have kind of an elitist attitude. Mercury conjunct Saturn, especially in Capricorn, is a bit of a perfectionist. And the stoic quality of this aspect is in contrast to the Jupiter square Neptune aspect, which is very expansive. This aspect brings a very sober, conservative attitude. I mean, if elections were to be held today, certainly the conservative candidate would win. A desire to discuss important matters, and there may be some rather important political issues to discuss today, because with this Jupiter square Neptune, a lot of things are going to be coming up. And this Mercury conjunct Saturn just indicates that it's going to be an important day in politics. Probably a lot of talking from Trump, maybe a big speech that he has to make. Who knows? We'll see. Because you never really know how this Jupiter square Neptune is going to manifest. So the aspect Jupiter square Neptune will be exact late morning on Sunday. That'll be 14 degrees of Sagittarius to 14 degrees of Pisces. This is the first pass. The next two passes will be June 16th and September the 21st. So I encourage you to check your chart and see if you're having any concurrent transits. Could be really important. And as far as the energy is concerned, it usually lasts a couple of days. So we'll say basically the whole weekend for this one. We'll be feeling it. And what will we be feeling? Well, a heightened sense of awareness and really generally feeling very good. Idealistic. We're more open-minded and optimistic. And we feel like a burden has been lifted. And that's the most obvious feeling that we'll probably have. And that's why we'll feel lighter and more inspired. Not in the mood for hard work or serious business. We're more philosophical and interested in matters of faith and spirituality. Desire to be with others is very strong. With this one, it often draws a crowd with these two planets. And this square enables us to dissolve religious and political programming by releasing the tight grip that those things have on your mind and helping you to find common ground with others. very important. You know, our perspectives can sometimes be very rigid, and they serve us well for a while in life, but then eventually become outdated and need to be renewed. And this square to Pisces really does that. It can also be a time of much needed endings, release of a burden or blockage in your life, particularly from the house that Jupiter is currently located in your chart. Unsolvable issues can be resolved with this aspect. It just expands your consciousness enough so that a whole new set of ideas can come in. It can dissolve psychological barriers that have formed in your mind, especially those having to do with matters of politics, philosophy, faith, and spirituality. So it can be very stimulating. It enables you to connect the dots and see patterns in the environment, and produces a very positive chemical reaction in the brain. I think it releases a lot of serotonin, and it gives you a kind of a high when suddenly you see things that you couldn't see before. And you may recuperate your psychic and or intuitive abilities, something that maybe you might have lost due to having very rigid beliefs or perspectives that you developed in adulthood. Well, we all have those psychic abilities in childhood, and this aspect enables us to dissolve those rigid framework around our perspective so much that we may suddenly recuperate our psychic and intuitive abilities, your ability to connect with the spirit world and find your direct divine connection. So you may have a truly religious experience, one that moves you beyond the teachings of a particular religion or faith, to find a common spiritual theme amongst all living beings, a truly transcendental experience. So see which house Jupiter is in right now in your chart. From that house, you will release a burden and will begin to see things in a whole new way. I promise you that. This aspect is one half of the major astrological event of the year. The other half is the Saturn sextile Neptune, happening close at all three passes. So together, they promise to help us resolve many issues and bring a year of enlightenment. So very excited about this one, much anticipated. And we have a couple of more moon aspects to consider for Sunday. Late in the afternoon, early evening, moon square Pluto. This one makes us apprehensive and reserved, kind of intense as well as impulsive, and social interactions are always challenging on those squares to Pluto. It brings obsession with an issue and kind of takes you out of the social sphere for a while. But it forces you to deal with your emotions honestly, and you're able to isolate yourself and analyze an issue, make internal corrections, and as always, avoid the emotional entanglements on those tough Pluto aspects. And then we finish the report with the first quarter moon, happening late Sunday evening, moon square sun. Once again, it's the Aries to Capricorn square, self-determination versus self-discipline. Obligations interfere with what you prefer to do, and it's hard to express your feelings. Basically, benefits come from enjoying your obligations. Be spontaneous, let your individuality shine, while realizing that fulfilling your obligations gives you personal freedom in the long run. Once again, you have to make a judgment call. So that's all for the aspects for this quarter. I wanted to talk just a little briefly about the USA and what we can expect coming up this week. We've got the new moon in Capricorn, along with Saturn and Pluto, pretty much all within orb to oppose the USA's sun. So really that entire stellium in Capricorn opposing the sun. So this new moon is sure to bring lots of powerful meetings and interactions. Those oppositions always do. And some aspects or I should say transits coming up for the USA this week. Jupiter quincunx Sun, and that will be 12 degrees of Sagittarius to 12 degrees of Cancer. And this one brings a crisis to grow. The quincunx reveals a blind spot that is yet to be filled in by life experience. And we've got signs that are different element and different modality. So there's sort of a disconnect there. That's why I say it's kind of a blind spot. And into that blind spot or that void rushes a new experience. And that usually comes from outside of yourself. Usually a lot of people pushing you along. It's kind of a transpersonal experience. And you could bring a whole new way to grow. Some way that the U.S. hasn't tried before. Something that maybe takes the form of judicial actions and court proceedings. But just like the Uranus quincunx Jupiter saw an end of Jeff Sessions and that new guy Whitaker come in, I'm looking to see if this Jupiter quincunx manifests as a new appointee to Trump's team. Someone who is ready to pursue justice. Maybe someone who doesn't believe the 9/11 official story. That would be really great. And then on the 12th, it's kind of a fateful day for the USA because Saturn opposition Sun is already bringing a lot of limitations. And then Pluto quincunx Mars, you'll see there 20 degrees of Capricorn, 20 degrees of Gemini, along with the Saturn 12 Capricorn to 12 Cancer. So those are two big aspects on the same day. And this, of course, is right next to the Jupiter square Neptune. So the Saturn opposition Sun, I already mentioned in the Deep State Part 1 report. It's a time of limitations and review for events that occurred 14 years ago, and that would be the Iraq War. So recently Trump paid a visit to the troops in Iraq. It was very encouraging. It seems that he's ready to pull the troops out of Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. It's a major reversal of U.S. policy. Definitely a time of restrictions and pulling back. And this Pluto quincunx Mars, I was afraid this might result in a false flag because those Pluto quincunxes or Scorpio quincunxes seem to be so coincidental with pretty much every false flag that we've studied here. And at this time, what we're seeing here, it means that the USA has a crisis to transform. So a new lesson needs to be learned. You need to turn over a new leaf and to reform, and that's Pluto. It's aggressive Mars ways, and that usually translates to military action. So this is kind of nice in that we've already seen how this aspect has been playing out since March of 2018 and will continue until November of this year. And the result has been very clear. The USA military has been losing its power and financing, and that's the reform that it's going through. It's forcing a major change in military behavior. At this time, all U.S. aircraft carriers are at home port for the first time since World War II, and they are ending the endless wars in the Middle East. Well, that's what I'd call a precise adjustment, a type of reform that Pluto is bringing to Mars military. So it's kind of nice to see how this is manifesting. It's really obvious to see at this point. And as well, I'm thinking it could also translate to political turmoil because it's to Gemini. And then the Neptune quincunx Saturn. Again, we've been watching this one since March of 2018. Only this one's the last pass. And it's been kind of interesting. Here it is, 14 degrees of Pisces to 14 degrees of Libra. And during this time, what we have seen is that authority has been called into question. You know, not just Donald Trump, but really everyone in authority doesn't seem to be, getting a lot of respect these days. Everyone's ability to lead is being called into question. And I think that Neptune has put clouds of uncertainty around authority figures during this time. It appears that authority is disconnected from the rest of the nation. Again, that's the thing with the quincunx. It's those different elements and sign. It gives that compartmentalization, disconnected. So basically, authority seems disconnected from the collective, the rest of the people in the nation. And there has been this most amazing outpouring of faith towards Trump over this time. This crisis to bring Neptune to Saturn has resulted in a lot of people having a lot of blind faith for Donald Trump. His supporters have been compelled to give him faith. And his slogan, make America great again. That's a very Neptunian slogan because it's all about recuperating lost elements of self. Well, that whole concept has become like a religious faith these last 10 months, complete with faith in the prophet Q. It's really kind of interesting to see this play out with this big Neptunian energy being applied to Donald Trump, the authority figure. And at the same time, guilt, feelings of obligation to the collective are probably kind of overwhelming the authorities. They really feel the need to come through and produce a positive result. So soon we reach a climax, and the faithful are going to expect to be rewarded. I mean, after all, this is putting their energy into Saturn, and Saturn says it will pay off in this lifetime, so they certainly have a lot of expectation that has come with this as well. So I would say this is a crisis moment, a fateful day, a lot of energies coming to a head. Maybe something that's hidden becomes an established fact. One way or another, the USA has been facing a structural crisis during this time, and this is sort of the culmination of that. Okay, so if you want a more complete story, of course, you can go back and check out the Deep State Part 1 and 2. I think I pretty much covered all of the transits for the USA in that one, and I just give you a little quick review as they're coming up this week. So that's all for Weekly Astrology Notes. Once again, thanks for viewing. Please subscribe, and please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. It helps to get my video included in the searches. And just to let you know, I am a practicing astrologer. And if you're interested in getting a reading from me, well, please contact me at mobilestar7@yahoo.com or through my weblog or website. Been doing a lot of these 1-hour phone consultations for $35. Been very successful. So if you're interested in seeing what I can do for you, shoot me an email and give me your chart information. I'll run you a chart and tell you what I think. And note, I can also work with Skype if you're in another country and want to save those long-distance charges. Okay, so that's it for this week, and have a great week yourself. Many blessings, and be good to yourself.